Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lizard Brains podcast. I'm your host, DJ Allison Drini. I'm joined by my co-host, Tom O'Gorman. Tom, how's it going?
I'm glowing,
Oh,
aren't I?
yes,
Look how lit I am.
the exposure is quite high on Tom O'Gorman.
Yeah. I don't know how to fix it, so I'm just gonna glow today. How are you?
Tom looks like he went straight into the dead of winter with his pale skin.
Are you calling me pale? No, I'm just well lit.
That's
Okay.
obviously what I meant. I,
Thanks. Okay,
yeah,
got it.
yeah,
How's your pasty ass?
it's great. And, and the rest of me is fine too.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
The rest of me, that was a good joke. Well done. Well done. Well done.
Well, Tom, another week, another podcast. What did you do this last weekend?
Well, the first thing I want to talk about is we had our first professional job together that wasn't just us doing a
Oh,
thing.
that's true.
We got to announce the Liberty Bell League, which is a sim racing league put together by Amy Houseel, who had the idea to put together a all women's sim racing league to try to encourage some of the people around her to spend more time on the sim this off season and race some and have a place to race that feels a little bit more approachable. And part of that was also I'm assuming that she knew of this, or maybe I'm gonna go with I assume that she knew of the streaming and all this because Ken organizes the Philly DC region stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and we got asked to do the broadcast, like the live stream commentary for it. So we were on YouTube commentating. There were 10 drivers for the first week, and I got to lead my first. I'm not gonna call it lead because it does feel silly.
You
Like
you led the Coda broadcast with GLTC, and then also like the first ever broadcast with
true,
GLTC.
true. Okay, so let me rewind and then I'll get to what I was going to say. So the league was really fun, and I really hope that it encourages more people to start
Mm-hmm.
sim racing. I know Christine was like interested and then all of a sudden got the cold feet. So like I hope this doesn't call her out, but I really want her to race. I want anybody who has a significant other who even is like a little bit interested or engaged in
Or or
either
in
their partner's interest
yeah,
or
or in Christine's case, not interested at all.
well, yeah, I mean I
She's
just am
only doing it
curious
to
what if
appease
you were
me. She's only doing it to appease me. I have this like small percentage hope that she tries it and goes, actually, this was way more fun than I thought it would be. It's a small percentage chance, but she has tentatively agreed to do the next one. She just wants to practice more before she gets there. She was
I
so
get that.
afraid
So
of ruining somebody's race. That's what she was afraid of.
well, okay, that's kind of what I wanted to get at without I don't know. There's something about this that makes me want to be tactful. But I'll just talk. So I think that if you just do it, and it's a perfect lizard brains example where if you just do it and you have a good time, you realize that it's not this thing that you've built it up to be in your head. And I'll get back to the sim racing thing in a second too. But um what I watched was 10 people have a really fun, like, whatever their experience was of the race. There were people who had like perfectly clean races and they went from ninth to third. By the way, it's on the slow motion broadcast sim racing channel on YouTube. So if you want to go watch the race, you can hear DJ and I commentate. It is still it'll live on YouTube forever, like a Sim TV or like one of Grid Life's
You could probably also
iRacer
just
streams.
search Liberty Bell iRacing and it will show up.
Yep, BELLE. Um, but what I wanted to get at, first of all, I try to treat it like a professional, like the first time I was leading a professional broadcast. And then I realized that I like didn't have it. Not in that not in that I can't get it, but I started and then I realized I didn't have much more to say. And at some point we like jumped on board with somebody and I was like, and we're gonna jump on board. And then I just like blanked out. And luckily you jumped in and you covered me, and then we got looser as we went on.
Yeah.
But man, it made me respect people like Kyle Heyer and Greg
Mm-hmm.
Creamer and like anybody who leads a broadcast. Oh my God, they are so good at what they do.
Whenever I
That
hear
was so hard to have something to talk about like every single time.
Well, that's how I felt at Solo Nats when they're like, okay, we're gonna have to wait a half hour for this concrete to dry. DJ, keep talking, and I'm like,
Yeah.
nothing has happened yet. What am I supposed to talk about? Literally, it's like not a single autocross run at Solo Nationals has happened, and I'm supposed to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First heat out the gate, 8 o'clock in the morning. Go. Like,
Uh, yeah, talking having something to talk about when there's nothing to talk about is like a skill all in its own. And yeah, mad respect to the people. I'll also say, ooh, I'm blanking on his name. I think it was Josh, the producer that we had.
yep.
He was pretty solid. There was a couple times where he would say something while one of us was talking, and I was like, I didn't hear that. I'm just gonna keep going.
Yeah, I've been in like the producer ear before, or had the producer in my ear before, but never while I'm like leading the broadcast. So
Yeah,
there were times where both of us stopped talking to listen to him, and
yeah.
the stream just goes quiet. I watched it back. I don't know if you did, but I remember every single time, like, oh yeah, Josh was talking to us at that point. That's why we're not talking.
Yeah, and I'm like, and like I'm like sitting in my computer room, like nodding my head, like, yes, Josh giving us information. But then,
Yeah.
like in the moment, you like, I remember thinking, oh crap, the broadcast is like it like hitched at that moment because we were mid thought, we stopped talking, and then we like kept going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to get better at that. That was super fun. Those races happen monthly. So the next one will be, I think, November 16th, I want to say. And then there's one all the way through March. Um, if you're interested, you can join. If you're aware of this, at least join the Lizard Brains Discord. But you can also request to join the Liberty Bell League on iRacing, or get a hold of one of us, whatever. The other part I was going to say is about the sim racing thing, that we talked about something on the air that I wanted to ask about, and then also bring up something. The first thing is, do you think that there's something, despite how we look at sim racing, when we're on, we're usually with our friends, maybe two or three other people. We know a lot of the other names, but do you think that there's something about sim racing that's a little bit more solitary, or like way more solitary than normal motorsports, that would make it like more difficult for someone to get into?
Ooh, more difficult to get into. I almost think it would be easier to get into just because the barrier of entry is so low. But maybe into as far as like really like wrapped up into it because like the maybe like the are you meaning like the community sense of
Yeah, yeah. So I wonder, like, and I'm so sorry, Christine, but I'm going to put myself in your shoes. If you're doing sim racing laps and you're practicing, and then you're getting into this, like, I'm going to do this league partially because my person wants me to have a good time with this, and I want to relate to this and whatever. But then you sit in the chair, and for the most part, all you really hear from a communal standpoint is like the occasional voice chat, and otherwise it's like there's not a lot of conversation, there's not a lot of community around like that moment. And then the bigger picture of sim racing is there's a lot of group chatting that's happening in discords or Facebook message groups or Facebook groups or whatever. um it's a different style of community than most motorsports events that happen in real life.
yeah.
And I just thought of this in this moment in the podcast. I wanted to bring it up and see if you think.
So I think
um
it's a little bit more similar to how like a gaming community would be. Like even back in my Halo
yeah,
days, like you interacted with and this was like 4v4 and some 2v2 stuff. So you had like a teammate or three other teammates and you would really only interact with like your team most of the time. And then you would interact with like other people in the community if you were just like doing like random fours or random eights is what they were called. So you just eight people and you just split teams into fours, or like maybe people that were local to you because you'd go do lands so you could get used to like playing in person and playing not on the internet but on land because like the game acted a little bit differently. There was like that community aspect to it. Um, but like when you were actively competing, the only people that you were really interacting with was the people on your team. And if you're doing like a free for all type of event, then which like would be more akin to racing, then you're not interacting really with anybody until like the competition is over. So to me, sim racing feels very similar to like that, where it's you're not really interacting with people while the thing is happening most of the time, but you have that camaraderie and the like everyone who did that Liberty Bell race, in the Discord after, they were just beaming. You could tell were all like they all had like a little adrenaline spike and they were all just like riding high. Like everyone just had like a little extra energy than they would have if they didn't do the race. And like if you ever see people or have been those people after a race and like the race car hands come out where you're talking about the race and stuff, that was happening virtually on Discord with all the ladies who did the Liberty Bell League.
That's what I was kind of trying to get at, because as I was talking it out, I'm like, there's something to this. That's exactly the right analogy, is like after the race when you're all in impound or you're all in paddock or you're all in like that moment after the runs or whatever it might be, whatever event you're at, when you can all like relive it together. That like I honestly think in the way that like, yeah, the competition is part of it and like the success is part of it and the personal growth is part of it. That aspect of motorsports, I almost think is uh required. Like all the other parts of it can be lessened, but if you don't have that, I don't know that you're destined to stick around for long, which is makes me bring go ahead. You have a thought.
So you this ties closely to a conversation that we had in the car on the way home from something from the Spicy Cat when we raced at CMP, where you said something along the lines because we were having a conversation about alcohol, and I don't drink
Oh
alcohol
yeah.
at all, and I just think it's kind of useless to me in a sense. But then Tom brought up a very valid point, saying that without alcohol, he doesn't think motorsports would exist.
Oh, I don't know if I said it that way. Extreme.
But you said it not maybe
You're
not
close
as
though.
concise, but like at least like amateur, like hang out with your buddies motorsports. Because some people they'll justify, and this is the point that Tom brought up in the car, is they'll justify the cost and the difficulty, and because guys racing is freaking hard, and they'll justify all of those things for the paddock hangs that they get to have after the race. And like the alcohol lubricates those paddock hangs, so then they're more likely to go like hang with people, and those are the memories that when they get back home with the broken race car that drive them to make it to the next race. Right? That's basically what you're
But
saying.
yeah, and you could apply this to most things, I think. Maybe not every single activity ever, but it's the exact same thing as why people go to their home bar like every weekend and don't do anything else. We have that applied to our little world. So I was picturing like we were talking about solo nationals, and I was trying to picture like what would solo nationals be like if no one was allowed to drink. For example, at Peru at Grissom, the autocross site we have in Indiana, it's an Air Force base, and you cannot drink on site. And that specific site has a very, in my opinion, poor social culture around it, because we have to vacate the site by 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. and you can't drink on site. So there's no like hanging out around the car in paddock, and there's no like everyone whips out their lawn chair and everything. It's like, where do we go for dinner? And then everything segments out really big, versus at solo nationals,
Yeah.
there's no rules, right? So you can just have like a giant block party with 500 people. And it's not that alcohol is the reason that we're there, but the my argument was, I think the single biggest like social glue of a grassroots motorsports event, unfortunately, more than anything, is probably alcohol, and that like um that layer of social network that comes from the ability to just like hang out and have a good time, and like you said, like lubricate yourself to the situation and whatever. Um
So it's a
yeah,
so
interesting comparison. It's like
it's a
it's the
social lubricant. So
yeah.
I like and I realize that I might be very lucky in this regard, but I don't feel like I need any kind of social lubricant to go out, and because I really don't have any kind of anxiety at all, and I realize that I'm very lucky to be in that situation to like have zero anxiety. I think most people have anxiety on some level, varying degrees, and like an alcoholic beverage helps them get over that and then go out and be a little bit more free to enjoy the company that is there and have fun and have those social interactions that we as humans will crave inherently, whether we realize it or not.
Yeah, and I think it's probably a chicken and egg thing where, like, it's not like the alcohol is the glue of that, but the fact that we can hang out until we want to. like at Solo Nationals or at most racetracks. Um, where did I missed it. Who said Putnam Park? Gavin just said Putnam Park has a hard out by 6 p.m. as well. So a place like that where you have to be out at a certain point or like you just don't have the opportunity to hang out is inherently going to be less social, duh, than like than a place where you don't have to. And then by proxy of how people work and whatever, people are probably going to break out beers and whatever. But it makes me wonder about sim racing. Is there something that you can do, or are there some strategies you can develop around the same way that you might have some, 30 minutes 3 times a week to practice and like get better to make sure that you either like create a Discord channel or some way to plug in like I mean Amy started a Discord channel for Liberty Bell, so that's a great start
Yep.
to make people feel that social glue that makes them want to do the activity. Like honestly, I probably wouldn't sim race all that much if it wasn't for my friends doing it. That's a lie. I play Assetto Corsa by myself a lot, but
I was gonna say
that's different than I wouldn't get on iRacing hardly ever if my friends didn't do it.
I probably sim race completely alone, all by myself, 95% of the time. So
Really?
yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. Listeners, tell us: is DJ the anomaly? Am I
I,
the anomaly? What are your
no,
thoughts on
I
this?
think I'm definitely the anomaly. And I've had this conversation with people that I coach before. And we've had this conversation on the podcast where like the amount, excuse me, I gotta clear my throat for a second.
Ah,
I'm back. That wasn't me, that was Tom. Um uh the amount of for lack of better word, obsession that's required to like seriously be great at this competing in a car thing means that you'll be doing it a lot by yourself. You won't always have friends around with you when you're working on the craft because
mm,
not it's nobody else is going to put in the amount of work that you are. If everyone was putting in the same amount of work, then uh everyone would be elite. And then nobody would be elite because everyone would be like the same skill level. You know what I mean? Like
and when everyone's super, no one will be.
exactly. But like I hope that that point gets across. Like if you're putting in if you want to do extraordinary, you have to put in an extraordinary amount of effort. So that means that you're going to be doing it by yourself a lot because you're doing something that's extraordinary. It just means that there's not going to be a lot of other people doing the same thing as you. So a lot of times when I'm working on the craft and trying to get better at specific aspects of my driving, I'm doing it completely alone. And then when I get to the competitions, then the social aspect, the competition itself, like those things are the reward for whatever amount of work went in before that.
Yeah. Raul said I used to do officials, but I almost exclusively do league races now, unless we do some official takeovers. Taylor, I do think there are a lot of obsessive people in video games as a whole, especially since online games became the norm because it's not really alone, even if they are strangers. That's kind of what I'm getting at, is that there, but I completely agree with you as well with the understanding that we've talked about this before where you kind of ease the pain of the like cresting over the top of Mount Stupid into the Valley of Despair when you can actually prepare yourself a little bit for how hard it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I can say like when we were doing the broadcast and I was supposed to like the producer asked us who's going to lead this and we agreed it would be me and then I would like
We
I
both
actively felt like I was doing a bad job at the start. And I'm like, "Oh, I haven't felt
let's
like I'm doing
let's
a
be
bad
clear,
job
Tom.
at a task."
Tom,
What?
let's be clear. When you said who's lead, it was like both of us pointed at each other.
Kind of, yeah. Well, it's like I don't feel strongly. I don't know. I've only ever been the other guy. Yeah, but that feeling of being bad at something sucks. You're like, "Oh, I'm not doing a good job at this." And luckily I watched it back and I felt better about what I did, but at the same time you're like in the moment, "Ugh, this is hard. I don't like to feel bad about this."
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's I'm the
But
job
I think the community part eases it. I
yes, it
genuinely
does.
think that.
Yeah, like especially and whether they meant it or not, but like everyone in the Liberty Bell League that was like, "Oh, it was so much fun to watch the broadcast and stuff like that." Then it's like, "Okay, well like we didn't completely suck because people were still finding us like remotely entertaining." which I didn't have a doubt that we would be entertaining or this podcast would have failed like a long time ago. But uh, but like, would we do the competition at hand justice? Is kind of like what was the question that I felt like we had to answer. And I think like w- I watched parts of it back, and I definitely think like there's definitely room for improvement, like there is in anything that we're doing. But like that was a good start. Like if we go back and listen to like the beginning podcast episodes where like me and you came to the conclusion, we're like, all right, we're just gonna
Oh,
have to do it at some point, and we just did it, and like we've gotten better at it since then. And to be honest, Tom, there's very few things that I could tell that we're actually doing better now than we were then. But if you listen to them back to back, like we're definitely better at just presenting a show now than we were then. And these are just all like these little intrinsic things that have been picked up over just, however long we've been doing the show. What has it been? 3 years? When did we start the show? 2 years?
169 weeks ago.
Somebody do the math.
I don't know. Yeah,
It's
that's
over
about
3
3
years
years.
ago. Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. I don't think I've done anything successively 3 what have I done 3 years in a row other since high school? I didn't do college 3 I worked my job out of high school. So
TCB
I
into
worked at the cart track
TCA
3 years.
into TCR.
Yeah, I did World Challenge 3 years in a row, but that was different every year. Damn, I
Okay.
haven't done many things for 3 years straight in my
Dang.
life.
Just put this on your resume.
Yes, sure. Other than that, this weekend, I watched a lot of the Petit Le Mans weekend. I watched probably 50% of the Petit Le Mans itself, which is a 10-hour race. So that was a lot of time.
Did you see
I
that
watched
Kenton
the
got second?
MX5 races. Yeah, Kenton got second for the whole season, which, by the way, if you missed his episode, Kenton's been a guest on our podcast. He was my teammate in 2018. He just he won second place in the GTD season championship, driving for two different
Two
teams in
different
two different
teams.
cars.
Yeah, because the team he started with, something happened. I don't know what it was, but like basically at midway through the season, Kenton was scrambling for a ride, ended up on this other team, ended up winning. He won a race in that team, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Or at least he did well. He was on a couple podiums. I remember seeing like champagne being sprayed.
Yeah, they definitely podiumed some. So that was really fun to watch. I watched the Pilot Challenge race. I watched the MX5 Cup races. Those were really good. If you're like kind of a racing fan like me and you can sit and watch some races, MX5 Cup was really good. I also watched I want to talk about this, the highlight reel. I didn't watch the whole race because you have to pay for it, but the highlight reel, which is like an hour long of the V8 supercars at Bathurst,
Mm.
they're like Bathurst 1000. Did you watch any of this? Did you click
I
the links I
watched
sent?
I watched the one lap where they like swap positions 3 times in one lap at
Dude,
Bathurst, and it was like kind of raining. Oh my god, dude, they're so good at driving cars. Holy crap, they're amazing.
they are so good. And whatever culture they have built around wheel-to-wheel racing in Australia, at least for that series, but I mean, I have to imagine it's bigger than that. It needs to be studied and it needs to be like implemented around the world because it is so impressive how those drivers have like such a cutthroat attitude towards wheel-to-wheel racing without ever driving in spite of the person next to them. Like
Yeah.
they never crash each other out unless they make just a full-on mistake. It was so incredible, guys. On YouTube channel Supercars Bathurst 1000, watch like it's a 52-minute video or something. It's worth the whole watch, but if nothing else, like the second half, oh my god, it was impressive.
Yeah. It's that would be interesting. I wonder how we'd find out more about we'd have to get like a V8 supercar person on the podcast, Tom. Like that's the only but like
Yeah.
so the way that racing played out to me is very similar to how the in iRacing, like the Porsche Cup, like the high strength of field Porsche Cup races, that's kind of how they are, where they're like everyone's inch perfect. And if you're also inch perfect, then you're gonna have like a great time because like everything, like they're not gonna leave you any leeway, they're not gonna be polite, but they're also not going to like run you off the racetrack. Like they'll leave you a
Yeah.
space to exist. And that like sums up V8 supercar like so well.
But even further, like Raul just said, it's they managed to toe the line between leaning on each other and outright pushing each other out of the way.
Yeah.
Because they hit each other like a lot. But I'm sure part of it is the cars are sturdy and they don't have wheels that are exposed. Uh, like even when they're going down the straights at the track, there's side drafting involved, and you can tell like as soon as they realize that they're getting passed, they like tuck into the door and like make body contact with the car alongside, so they get the side draft, and then the next person like they do it back to the next guy, and like I just think it was so worth the watch if you're a wheel to wheel driver. I don't know how to put it into words other than what I already said, but it's so worth going to watch that and saying like, this is the driver that I aspire to be. The type of driver that drives this precisely, this hard, but without ever sticking the knife in and twisting it for the other driver, you know?
Yeah. 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 I saw a clip that Kenton posted on his Instagram with him like passing somebody on the outside of turn 7 at Road Atlanta, and then he passed two cars down into turn 10, and that kind of reminded me a little bit of like that V8 supercar, uh like the just the accuracy, because the car that was on Kenton's inside, so he passed him on the outside of 7, but the car that was on his inside tracks out to where they were probably only a quarter of a car width to the exit curbing, which was just enough room for Kenton to be fully on the exit curbing, and then just barely pulled away from that edge of the racetrack to let Kenton come back on the track while using every single inch of the exit curbing. Like Kenton had to be inch perfect to exist in that space, and the other car was inch perfect to allow Kenton to exist in that space. And then they just drove down the straightaway like perfectly next to each other. It was beautiful.
Yeah, 100%. And I will say, like, IMSA got really messy through the middle part of this year, and then after after whatever was before VIR, Road America was really, really, really messy. And the IMSA race director, who I swear we'll have on this podcast, Bo Barfield, like the whole IMSA technical or like sporting team came down on them like, this is not going to be what our series is. We're not doing this.
Yeah.
This crashing, this maniacal like craziness, we're not doing this. And the next race, there were like 3 incidents at the start, and they penalized every single one of them freaking hardcore, like right away. And then ever since that, which was VIR on. Sorry if you're not a race fan. We're being nerds right now, but it was actually really impressive to see like what does a scrutineering response to what they want do to the way everyone drives, and it turns into what you just described with Kenton. Like there's
Yeah.
still hardcore racing, but it's not dirty. I don't know. Anyway, what did you do this weekend? You drove, right?
Yeah. I went to the last time I'll ever be at Pit Race. I did the last autocross event there. Tom just like did a cross. Rip Pit Race. Um,
RIP, yeah.
yeah. And it was a really fun event. The fun runs we were planning on going to basically until the sun went down, and Pit Race basically came and shut us down. And the Corvette that was on the line as the course was getting shut down, he got the assignment, and I forget who the guy was, and I feel bad for like leaving it out. He just did a rolling burnout through the entire course. Like the rear tires were corded, it was smoke everywhere. He said he had to stop like 3/4 of the way through the course because he saw his oil temps getting up so high, and he was afraid of like popping his engine. It was just like the longest, smokiest burnout you've ever seen for the last run ever on the VDA at Pit Race, and it was just smoke lingering in the air, like Pit Race just got roasted. Um, and that was the last autocross run ever, or at least for SCCA. Oh, Tom posted a picture, nice. Um, at at the VDA at Pit Race, and I'm gonna have to say I went out for a scooter ride just because I was helping clean up. And when I was out there, it was a little emotional, Tom, because the gravity of like, wow, this place. Like, I was kind of just thinking of the way the place has changed over the last 10 years. The first time I went there was 2015, where I met you, but didn't actually meet you. I just saw that you were a person that existed. But Didn't realize that it was the Tom O'Gorman who was my novice instructor, um, or novice coach or whatever track night called that. Uh, and then I went and crashed my car, and then I did the third session with crooked headlights, and then drove home. Um, but that place was that was the one of the first places I went to for an autocross event where I like was trying to find an event that weekend because I was like, I really want to drive an event. So I like looked up events near me and was like, whoa, turns out there's a ton of events all around me, all over the place. And Steel Cities was the first place I went to when I was like trying to like quote unquote fill a calendar because I just wanted to get better at this autocrossing thing. And I remember I would just get beat by Greg Vincent because he also had an S2000. And like I had a whole new slew of people to chase. Um, and yeah, I've grown along with that whole region. The region, no offense to anybody, but like it wasn't that competitive when I first got there. But then like I don't know, like a dozen or so national championship jackets later in the last 10 years, like the place kind of became a lot of really good drivers were there, and hopefully the Steel Cities program finds another place for all those people to play. Um, yeah, uh, riding around it was kind of sad because I realized that I'm never gonna be back there again. Uh, I tried to go race the rental carts one last time, but they said that they were all booked up to the end. Um, so couldn't race the carts. But I mean, those carts is where I learned how to rain drive because anytime it was raining, I would run over there and jump on the carts because they were a little bit more even. They were like, like a second to 2 seconds off when it's just completely dry. So it's got a little bit of a lottery whether you get a good cart or not. But when it's raining, it doesn't matter. So, yeah, it's just a lot of growth and learning happened at that racetrack that I didn't quite think about until I was there saying goodbye.
Yeah, I get that for sure. I think I experienced something similar uh, when the Cincinnati region, which is where I grew up, started autocrossing and stuff. We got the Wilmington Airport site from I think 2013 to 2015, maybe, and it was so big. Sorry, we're gonna nerd out autocross now, but the site was just it was like bigger than Lincoln for the usable space. It had so much personality, and we ended up having like 3 national events there a year. And there was a visible growth in the ability and the performance of the drivers in the area.
Yeah.
It was amplified because we already had Toledo, which was 3 hours away from like 2007 or 8, I want to say, which is another like giant premier concrete autocross site, Toledo Airport. So there was a period in like 2014 and 2015 where Ohio, 3 hours apart, had like 5 national events. We had like 2 tours, 3 tours, and 2 pros every year for 2 years straight. And you could just see like that Ohio became a like mecca for
Yeah.
autocross, and byproduct of that, a place where there were excellent drivers coming out. Um, I wonder if that happens with road courses too. I wonder if there I mean, I'm sure it does, but it's a little harder to study that where I have seen in and I would say from my personal like firsthand experience, I watched people from Steel Cities, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, that area become exceptional drivers in a premier like people from that region are going to win nationals type way.
Yeah.
Um, I wonder if that happens with road courses. I think road courses more develop their own little specialists.
I mean, we've talked about on the podcast where like go to the events even if it's more of a drive that will be like impactful for your development as a driver.
Yeah.
And I remember right away I started ditching my own local events, which was Northeast Ohio, just because like we've Northeast Ohio has just never really had a good lot. So like just
They suck.
the nope, that's not why.
Okay. DJ said it. I'm
I
kidding.
know what? No, I did not. Um, it was Carlton.
Oh, you guys got me. Oh man. Okay, I'll take that one. I'll take one for the team here. I'll jump on that grenade.
Anyways, thanks for that, Carlton. Appreciate you for once in your life. And uh anyways, and because Toledo was like NWR, like that was where all the really great drivers in the area would go. Like every airport event, it was 250, 300 people, and like 20 of those people had national championship jackets. And like if you popped 20th on PAX, that means you probably like beat a national champion. Like it was just it meant that it like there were so many people to chase. And I remember prioritizing Toledo events over pit race events, uh, because like those were going to be the stronger events. But over just like the last like I don't know 6 years, like STCs just became like just a super strong region. So I don't know, it'd be kind of fun to have like a little NWR like Steel Cities battle somewhere, like, or maybe we like look up like average placements at nationals of the regions. I think that'd be kind of fun. Somebody crunch those numbers. Somebody throw the PDF of the nationals results in the chat GPT and see which region had the best average placements.
Someone I saw this actually. I don't have it handy, so this is going to be a boring story. But somebody did it for states, like which states have the best autocrossers.
Oh, it's probably the people with like
And
the biggest populations is what I would think.
yeah, it more followed population because I think Nebraska, which hosts nationals, had like a really low number, and someone was like, "Man, that's embarrassing for Nebraska."
A
I'm
little
like,
bit,
"There's also like, there's like no one in Nebraska. Everyone else travels, you know."
Yeah.
Um, like that has no bearing on anything, but it's one of those like, have you ever seen the like the statistic maps that have nothing to do with each other?
Yeah.
And it's comparing like radiation to where people buy wheat bread and then match up or something. I don't know.
Uh, and yeah, they're just because it's a graph might make you think it's correlated, but like it's not.
Yeah,
It
completely random.
it's like purposely obtuse just to point out that you can organize data in a way that can make you think a certain way.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean it's not too late. If you want to come autocross on Thursday, we have the skid pad rented.
That's why I revised my I was like, wait, it's not the last autocross run because I think they have like some low key
They
events
do.
ran by Pit Race and stuff, but I don't have anything else. I think they close. When did they close? November 30th?
Yes. Yeah.
Sometime in November. I don't have any events on my calendar that's Pit Race, and my calendar to the end of November right now is pretty full. So I'm just like, okay, I'm not coming back here unless something changes or like I change some plans. So
You want me to grab you a souvenir? You want some like you want a flag off one of the fence
oh
posts? I can grab
man,
you something.
I meant to go like try to get that seat that was in the pro shop, but I forgot about it.
Oh, you're thinking like a real souvenir. I was thinking like a chunk of concrete.
Oh
I could get you like
no.
a piece of paint off the bathroom door. I don't know.
I wonder if I could get like the guardrail that my S2000 planted its license plate into.
That's yeah, good. So many people have done that. I guarantee that thing is not only gone at this point, it's
Yeah.
already rusted, decomposed, and in
Yep.
the ground.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Uh, that's kind of crazy, actually. I have two events left at Pit Race. I have this weekend. We have ASM Test Day rented on Thursday, and then Grid Life Friday, Saturday, Sunday, duh. And then I'm working track night the following week. Is it the following week? No, it is. I'm looking. Sorry, filling time like a professional broadcaster.
I might come out.
The 29th.
I might come out to that track night just because there's gonna be a lot of people that I know that are there, and just come and hang out. I don't have. I didn't sign up because I was like, that's gonna get waitlisted immediately.
Yeah,
And also like
it's
any.
a double.
What do you mean a double?
They added the full day. So instead of track night being 4 to 8, they added uh 10 to 2, I think.
Oh man, I would have.
And because it was waitlisted to the point where they could do another event entirely and
Oh,
just like
did
let
they?
everybody in.
Dang, I wish
Yeah.
I had vacation time, or just vacation time wasn't even a thing. But yeah, um, yeah. I with getting married and one lap this year, my vacation time got like nuked immediately. So I just
Yeah.
yeah, I can't do like the during the week things, which is unfortunate. But I think we've covered enough on the podcast. I'm not like a huge fan of like the actual like racetrack itself. I just think the facility is really nice and it benefits like the whole region for it to exist. But I don't need the track, especially in like a Miata. Like it was pretty fun in a fast car, but in slow cars, I was kind of like, it's fine. Like
Yeah.
Peter was trying to get in, but he doesn't have an oil cooler in his car, and I was like, and I'm like thinking about like this car that we need for next year, and I'm like, now Peter, you can probably only do like a lap or two before you gotta come in. Like, please don't blow up the engine, even though like we could just put another one in there, but like, man, what a pain in the ass for you is what I'm thinking.
For you.
Not me. I didn't blow it
Not
up.
even yeah. That's funny. Yeah. All right. Well, you have a league race in 15 minutes. So do you want to do one question? Do you have anything else from this week you want to talk about? I don't want to rush the podcast, but it is going to be a short
No,
one.
I mean just just bumming about pit race closing. But whatever. There is a petition to save it. It's like called Save the Pit or what do you know what it's called?
I think it's just savepitrace.org.
Okay, savepitrace.org. Head there. I don't know if anything if anything is gonna like actually there has been communities in the past that have petitioned for data centers to not exist. But again, the data center thing is like kind of speculation. I don't even know if it's confirmed. Like we don't even know who bought Pit Race. There was rumors flying around that it might have been like a federal government purchase, which means like you're not going to stop it. Um, so which would also explain like just the absurd amount of money thrown at it if like the figures are true. But if it is a data center, there has been like there was a data center that was supposed to go up in like this field in the middle of nowhere, but it like ruined a hiking trail. So a bunch of hikers got together and blocked the data center from going up in a random field. So like, and I'm gonna go out on a limb just because I've been hiking and it's not like there's crowds of people out there. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that like the racing community is probably a little bit bigger, or like the local racing community is probably a little bit bigger than the local hiking community.
Do you remember how Button Willow repaved their second track, but they're not connected because of a mouse?
Oh yeah,
Maybe we need to find a mouse.
something.
We need to find some sort of endangered. The only place that you find it is a pit race, other than autocrossers,
Hey, we could be endangered.
or other than motorcyclists who like to fall off their bikes.
Dude, there was Tom, a little bit of
What?
serious note. There was 3 life flights on that Saturday. There was a motorcycle track day. Dude, the
Dude,
motorcycle
motorcycles on
people,
track are so scary.
dude, they're so crazy. They're all lunatics. They're all crazy people. I don't know how you guys do it. I know we have some motorcycle people that listen to the podcast. Like you guys are all insane. I don't even. And then the helicopter would take off, and then 5 minutes later you hear bikes on the track again. I'm like, this is like routine to these people. Like this is crazy.
Yes,
Dude,
it's part of it.
it is part of it. It's absolutely part of it. It's I can kind of understand it because like what are we gonna do? Live forever? But at the same time, it's like, man, God, it's so crazy. Like guys, we could just drive cars. They have like metal cages around us and stuff.
Right. I mean, that's the thing is like okay, for a car person, you might go to the racetrack and crash your car. For a bike person, you might go to the racetrack and die.
And crash
think
your
that's like a-
body.
I mean, that's kind of like that sounds dramatic and a little extreme, but I think that's a pretty legitimate one-to-one thing. And I've seen like I know most racetracks that host motorcycles, they have 4 different GPS locations, not GPS. What am I thinking? What's the latitude longitude thing?
Uh, uh, I mean, I don't know. Where are you
Is it
going?
GPS?
That's not
Like
GPS.
not quadrants. What's the thing?
Coordinates.
Coordinates. Thank you. They have 4 different coordinates for different places to land a helicopter on a racetrack to get to the person as fast as possible.
That's
So
crazy.
like when they call in the life flight, it's like coordinate 4, whatever that might be,
Oh, it's like
versus coordinate
pre-planned.
1. It's like these are the 4 locations that you can land. And maybe that's an FAA thing, maybe that's something more than I don't understand. But my understanding is it's so that they can get to people as fast as possible, which is like, oh my God, that's so crazy. I can't imagine
Dude,
that being a part of our thing.
that's so crazy. I mean, I kind of get it though. Like that dopamine, you get the
Dude, it has to
hit.
be so fun.
Dude, it has to be amazing. It has to be absolutely incredible. I remember John Ryan, who races SRF and is an autocrosser at Steel Cities. He used to do motorcycle track days, and we were talking about it. And he told me like he was like in the intermediate group, and like he felt like he was getting pretty quick. And then one of the like really advanced drivers, he was taking people out for rides. They would sit on the back of the bike, and he would go out there and rip around with somebody on the back of it. And John thought, okay, he's kind of doing like what I'm doing. And then the guy like started like wrenching it up a little bit. And next thing you know, they're just gliding through corners. You know how like when we're driving a car, we're like flying around at slip angle and the car's like kind of like slithering around? But he's doing that
Yeah.
on two wheels and it's just slithering. Like the back of the bike is slithering and the front of the bike is slithering all the way to the edge of the racetrack and then all the way to the other edge of the racetrack. And it's just gliding around and they're just balanced with the like the amount of lean and yaw and where their bodies are on the bike. And John was just holding on for dear life, going, I will never get to this point. And he asked the guy, hey, what would I have to do to even get to that point in uh, like to be able to do that on a motorcycle? And the guy basically said, you have to be willing to fall down a couple times.
Wow.
Can you
Dude, I
imagine?
literally got on the back of a bike, not even a bike, a scooter. I got on the back of a scooter in a paddock, and as soon as my feet left the ground, I panicked and I put my feet back down.
So
It was like, nope. I noped so hard out of that.
Can-
I can't imagine doing that.
Tom, can you imagine if we're like, yeah, if you want to get good at this driving stuff, you got to be willing to crash a couple times.
Well, some people think that, but that's still not a different, that's so different still to me than being
Yeah.
willing to throw your body into the ground, your physical person into the ground.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's wild.
Wow. I don't know about that.
All right, that's your bi-yearly Tom and DJ rant about how crazy motorcycle
Yeah.
track stuff is.
Two wheels bad. Two wheels bad. But if you love it, I'm happy for you. I'm glad you
if
love it.
that's your thing, if that's your thing, let us know, please. I want to hear everything about it. I want to live vicariously through you.
Without getting on the back of your bike.
Yeah, I won't get on the back, but you know, I'm a little bit of a daredevil on a scooter, but that's about where I draw the line.
Yeah. All right. You want to wrap it up or you want to do one question?
Let's do a
There is
question.
a quick one, but okay. Do the thing.
Emails.
All right. This is from Ross. You already acknowledged it, but what do you do if you're instructing HPDE and your student just has normal, non performance brake pads, i.e., something with no particular temperature rating? I've never tried tracking anything lower than Hawk HP pluses, and I get worried about having a student who does not adequately prepare their brakes because I've seen videos where brake fade comes on so suddenly when going into fast, heavy braking zones. Is this sudden fade somewhat common on street pads, or will a student or driver normally get a small feel or smell warning before a major brake fade comes on? I'd like to let a student know what to smell or feel prior to loss of braking, and I was curious if you feel the need to do the same thing if you know that a student does not have some sort of track day pad on their car, while also being able to provide an effective learning experience. Also interested to hear any stories or close calls from your instructing experience, if any.
All right, I have a couple things.
All right, Mr. Brakes.
Yep, I have a couple things. Normally, an HPDE organization, especially if novices are signing up, they'll have special emails that go out well before the event happens, illustrating how important it is that you have track pads and DOT4 fluid in the car. And they'll stress like this is not a like a recommendation, this is a requirement, right? I That catches most people from showing up to the racetrack with the wrong equipment. That being said, I have been an instructor for somebody who was just on their OEM pads for the day. And it sucks for them because we can't work on any of the things that actually put the car at the limit. It's basically a waste of their money when they show up. And I explain this to them when they show up and they can't actually explore the limits of their car because the easiest way to get to the limit of your car is through the brake pedal. How are you supposed to gauge anything else about what the car is going to do when you're absolutely brand new
Yeah.
without
So
being able to lay into the brakes?
my exposure to this is more working track night than anything else. So that was a non-right seat but supervised novice experience. So my job was to give them all the information that I could before they were in the car so that if they had something go wrong, they would maybe at least have my voice pop up in their head. To like if you crash your car at turn 14 at pit race, you don't jump out and look at your car.
Oh, I feel attacked.
Yeah, I was gonna let that sit as long as it needed to. Okay, I'm kidding.
I was reading the chat and then I was like, wait, Tom, stop talking. What was the last thing he said? That bastard. That was my thought process.
Okay, so my exposure to this is uh basically giving people a warning of like this is what it will likely feel like if this starts to happen. So if your brakes are starting to go soft, the first warning sign that you're going to get, sorry, if your brakes are starting to fade, the first thing you're going to get is a smell.
Mm-hmm.
That's likely the first thing, and the second thing you're likely to feel is one or two tries before the brakes go to the floor and fail. You're going to get a really soft pedal and the car is going to be really hard to stop, and that will probably only happen like once. So if you have that happen, if you smell something a little funny and then the brakes go mostly to the floor and the car barely stops, you need to bail. Like you need to do self-preservation. It's not worth going any further. The second part of that is um if somebody has a car that's happening, like specifically when I worked at Blackhawk Farms up in Chicago, that was like the worst brake track that I worked at. When you're there for track night, it just smells like brakes the whole night. It's just like super, super hard on brakes. I would tell people like the most fun part, as cool as it seems or whatever, is to like accelerate all the way to the braking zone. Like that's not really the point, right? We're not trying to hit like 130 miles an hour. The fun part is the corners. So if you're having brake problems, just accelerate to like 80 miles an hour and then pick a threshold brake from there. And you're probably going to brake for like a split second at the last second and then go through the corner at 50 to 60 miles an hour. So I disagree with you that their experience is ruined, but I completely agree with you with the sentiment that like, how are you going to do it? You basically have to have the self control to not accelerate to 100 miles an hour. You have to just like cruise down the straights and then do like what we did with the fuel saving. You just brake at the last second.
Yeah. I feel like when a novice doesn't even understand what the limit of adhesion feels like, the brakes are the easiest way to have them understand what the car is capable of, essentially.
Yeah, good point. Yep.
So, like, having them play in the corners without ever feeling that is kind of like they're like shooting in the dark. Like, they don't even know roughly what to aim for. So they're kind of just driving around. So,
I mean, kind of, but more in like it becomes more of an autocross exercise, which is like, how hard are you ever actually using your brakes in autocross?
not very.
You're just exactly. You're just bringing the top speeds down. That honestly, the times that happened, I could count on one hand. It was like very, very, very few times where someone was just like, it's either I have to leave or do that. But the main thing is preparing them for like what could go wrong. No, what could this feel like? What
Yeah.
could this feel like in the like? You're gonna get a little bit of a warning in this way, your nose. You're gonna get a little bit of a warning this way under your right foot, and then it's done. Like that's either you're replacing all your fluid or you're in the wall.
I have had students too where they at least did the fluid, but they were like on basically street pads. And that's a much better situation because then it's like, hey, if you find like yourself lifting yourself out of the seat to get to ABS, then you have to do like a cool down or two. But like you'll always have hydraulic pressure at least. And that's a
Yeah.
way better situation. I mean, I've caught brake pads on fire that weren't track pads before, but it had .4 fluid and like the car was still stopping. I just had to like push the pedal kind of hard, right? Like that will still stop somewhat. But if you lose the pedal altogether, then like it's a bad time. I remember, and I think I've told this story on the podcast before. A student wanted me to drive their car, and I was like, "Oh yeah, hey, by the way, did you do the brakes?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, did the brakes totally before the event." And I went, "All right, cool." Now I ask, not did you do the brakes? I ask, what brake pads do you have? Right. So I
Yeah.
understand what they have because he did do the brakes. He put new OEM brakes on it with .3 fluid. And we went out for an out lap and I was going to show him how to dial in a braking zone. And when I hit the brakes, it went straight to the floor. And good thing this is where I was like, yeah, we're going to brake like a couple brake markers early. And then I'm going to show you like, oh, look, we're at the speed of the corner, like 2 markers early. So that means we could subtract 2 markers from where I hit the brakes. So like I still had plenty of racetrack to like pump it back up and like stay on the racetrack and not like, have a bad day with this person's car. But if it was the next lap where I was actually hitting the calculated brake marker, like we would have just went off the track. So like you do lose, and this was the first flying lap and it was out of brakes. So
Yeah.
it happens quick. So that's why I'm really hesitant for them to really hit the brakes at all on the OEM brakes. Just from that one experience.
Agreed. I put a rental car Ford Focus through the gravel trap at turn 8 at Road America
Turn 8,
because
huh?
the brakes turn 8, yeah, because from the pit lane, mind you. So I broke for turn 3, for turn 5, and then I went into the gravel
Were
at
you
turn
like
8. It happens so fast.
Were you like actually hitting the brakes for turn 3 and turn 5?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, out of the pit
Yeah,
lane.
so it was okay, so turn 5, then you hit the brakes kinda for turn 6, and then you went through 7 probably basically flat. And then and then you didn't have brakes on 8. So you got like 3 hard presses of the brakes before you were no brakes.
Yep.
Yep.
That's how quick it can happen, which is why I tell them, and I did get the warning. I got the little,
The
I don't know if
whiff
that's coming through.
the whiff of no,
That co-
the sniff's not coming through, but Tom's like the whiff of the sweet aroma of a brake pad.
Ooh, the
Yummy.
dish smells so good. Yeah. That's all right. That's I think the best thing you can do as an instructor is to set them up for the information they need to manage the crisis and also ask the question, what pads are you on / what fluid do you have? Ask specifics.
Yeah,
All
definitely.
right, what are you doing this weekend?
I'm gonna go race at VIR in Spec 3, courtesy
in
of Spicy
NASA.
Cat. Yep, with NASA. I got my NASA provisional license. It's funny. I don't know if this is just the person that I was dealing with, but I'm like applying for my provisional, and they it's kind of funny. The person that's like in my region was like, "Oh, we'll let them know that you're that this is your first race." And I was like, I had to correct them. Yes, this is my first race with NASA. But like they just had like, "Oh, we'll let them know that you're like a rookie. This is your first ever race," is kind of thing. And I'm just like, "Sure. Whatever. That's fine.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter." Yeah, Ryan in the chat right now, he's like, "We'll remember to put the rookie stickers on the back." Good. I want people to be terrified. It benefits me.
That assumes that anyone's going to be behind you. No, I'm kidding. I can't wait to hear about your first, like NASA. Are you in Thunder or Lightning?
No idea. I think it's the fastest
Okay,
car
I
in the
can't wait to hear
class.
about your
Lightning.
first Lightning race.
So everyone else knew. The
I'm
chat knew, and I had
yeah,
no
everyone-
idea.
You're like me at Solo Nationals. I have the ASM test day at Pit Race on Thursday, and then podcast listeners know. Otherwise, I'm keeping it a just to me little thing. I'm racing GLTC this weekend in my
Woo-woo.
old car in Touring 3 or Touring 3 in Trainer 3.
Trainer 3.
And if anybody else sees it anywhere else, it's Robert Thorne. It's not me. I don't need that
Yeah.
shit. I'm just doing my thing.
Tom's alias, his Smurf is Robert Thorne.
Robert Thorne.
Yep. So Robert Thorne is racing T3 this week.
Yep. Can't
So,
wait. It'll
yep.
be fun. All right, go do your league race. Have fun.
I
We love
will.
your hair. We hope you win.
Uh,
Oh, no, I shouldn't say that at the end. That's supposed to be for the very end.
Yeah, that's the very end. Here, I'll play the outro. Later, everyone.
DJ, I hope for your league race that's so important and also going to change your life that Richard Petty calls you, and I love your hair, and I hope you win.